The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Kethvar of the Zeltani Empire finished his presentation. Holographic displays showed the same devastating statistics that had haunted the galaxy for 3 centuries. Casualty reports from the Nexus conflict, territorial maps painted in the blood of a dozen species, economic projections that spelled doom for entire star systems. As you can see, Kethvar's forearms gestured toward the data. The war between the hegemony and the coalition has reached a mathematical impossibility. Neither side can achieve victory without mutual annihilation. We estimate another 50 years of conflict before both civilizations collapse entirely. Murmurs rippled through the assembled delegates. The Aquatic Dominion's representative bubbled nervously in her environmental suit. The crystalline architects chimed in harmonious discord. 300 years of the most brutal war in galactic history, and the greatest minds in the galaxy had declared it unsolvable. That's when Captain Sarah Chen of the Terran Expeditionary Force stood up. "With respect, Ambassador Kethvar," she said, her voice cutting through the chamber like a plasma blade. "Has anyone actually tried talking to them?" The silence that followed was so complete that the chamber's atmospheric recyclers seemed deafening. Then came the laughter, nervous, condescending chuckles from beings who had fought wars before humans had discovered fire. Kethvar's mandibles clicked in what passed for amusement among his species. "Captain Chen, surely you understand the complexity of this situation. We're not dealing with a simple territorial dispute. The hegemony and coalition have fundamental philosophical differences about the nature of existence itself. Their hatred runs deeper than what?" Chen interrupted, taking a step forward. "Than humans and Neanderthals? Than Catholics and Protestants? Than capitalism and communism?" She paused, letting that sink in. "We've been having fundamental philosophical differences with ourselves for millennia. We're still here. Council Isai, President Thal, a being so ancient his species had forgotten their homeworld, leaned forward on his gravitational support platform. "You suggest the impossible, young human. These civilizations have tried negotiation 47 times. Each attempt ended in massacre." Chen's smile was sharp enough to cut through hull plating. "That's because they've been negotiating with each other. What they need is a mediator who doesn't give a damn about their philosophy." 6 months later, Chen stood in the neutral zone between 2 massive battle fleets, her single frigate looking like a gnat between titans. The hegemony's bioships pulsed with organic weaponry that could reshape matter at the molecular level. The coalition's geometric dreadnoughts bristled with reality-bending technology that made physics weep. Both fleets had their weapons trained on each other, and on her. "Hegemony Command, Coalition Command, this is Captain Chen of the Terran vessel Persistence. I'm here to end your war." The hegemony's response came first, transmitted through chemical signals that her ship's AI translated into audio. "Small meat thing, you court dissolution. Depart or become nourishment for the great growth." The coalition's reply arrived simultaneously, a burst of mathematical concepts that barely translated. "Geometric anomaly detected. Your chaotic existence offends the perfect order. Realign." Or face correction. Chen leaned back in her captain's chair and cracked her knuckles, a gesture that would have horrified both fleets if they understood its meaning. "See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You're both so busy threatening each other that you've forgotten what you're actually fighting about." She activated a holographic display showing the war's timeline. 300 years ago, your conflict started over mining rights to the Kepler Nebula. The hegemony wanted to seed it with organic life. The coalition wanted to harvest its mathematical constants. You've been killing each other for 3 centuries over something that would have taken 3 weeks to resolve. The philosophical divide is insurmountable, insisted Overmind Veltar of the hegemony. The coalition's artificial order is an abomination to natural growth. The hegemony's chaotic biology corrupts universal harmony, countered Prime Calculate Zen 9 of the coalition. Chen stood up, and when she spoke again, her voice carried the weight of every war her species had ever fought and survived. "You want to know what's really chaotic? Spending 300 years fighting over who gets to use a nebula while both your civilizations crumble? You want to know what's really unnatural? letting mathematical purity become more important than survival. She gestured to her own ship, a patchwork of human engineering that somehow held together despite violating a dozen different design philosophies. Look at us. We're biological chaos wrapped in technological order, held together by coffee, duct, tape, and sheer bloody-mindedness. We shouldn't work, but we do. You know why? Both fleets waited. Because we learned that survival trumps philosophy every single time. The hegemony can seed half the nebula. The coalition can harvest the other. Half. You both win, nobody dies, and maybe, just maybe, you can spend the next 300 years building something instead of tearing it down. The silence stretched for 17 minutes. Chen counted. Then slowly, weapon signatures began powering, down on both sides. The human speaks with unexpected wisdom, admitted Overmind Veltar. The proposed solution contains acceptable parameters, agreed Prime Calculate Zen 9. 3 days later, the Treaty of Kepler was signed aboard Chen's frigate. The document was a masterpiece of diplomatic engineering, half written in organic compounds, that grew and changed, half encoded in mathematical equations that approached perfection. It shouldn't have worked, but it did. 6 months after that, Captain Sarah Chen stood once again before the Galactic Council. This time, they weren't laughing. The Hegemony Coalition War has officially ended, she reported. Casualty rates in their territories have dropped to 0. Economic cooperation has increased by 400%. They're actually working together on terraforming projects. Ambassador Kethavar's mandibles clicked, but this time it wasn't amusement. How did you accomplish what 3 centuries of our best diplomatic efforts could not? Chen shrugged, a gesture that had become legendary throughout the galaxy. We didn't try to solve their philosophy. We just reminded them that being right isn't worth being extinct. As she left the chamber, the ambassador called after her. Captain, the council is curious. What will humanity do now? She paused at the doorway and looked back with that same sharp smile. Same thing we always do, Ambassador. Find the next impossible problem and prove it isn't. The door closed behind her, leaving the council to contemplate a universe where the impossible was just another Tuesday for humanity.